ngamalo yeso mothieth Dr. Kakeche Otieno mino chola jakano bende paki nionge ngamalo yeso mothieth Dr. Kakeche Samane wadonje iratanga pinyo jode Nibi yuru tumanya jona momosa jose Momosa gi kisungu gidongere good morning Aduoke kodoswayo jambole di yuru peni Akinyi nyago bondo somo twech lady tosha Kendo kamodake otokwe orito pacho Rini bwana dokta iratanga medilemo Akwayo nujehova ngimakende Mungu kwetu Kecho minosiago somo thieth yo Ulaya Ibigi nimonia gimamo kosomo duto Kata jo Ulaya ong'eyo bano mino tieno Omino rwa jode osemo thieth koda tiende Kakecha weni solo sechorumo min Philip Mosanja mwalimu nyamino wigo nyajo sorry Hey!
Hello. Hello, kamano. Hello, kamano.
Kamano JK. Karibu.
Moscow mano
No, it's
matino.
fine.
Nyaka put out some fire.
It's okay.
Ma iluongo ni en history, but gikete kaka story, but in history. Mar iluongo ni the taking of Joppa. Area no iluongo ni Joppa. Mbaka ni chako kama.
Okay.
In the days of Thutmose the third, the pharaoh who reigned in Egypt after the great queen Hatshepsut, an expedition set out to capture and punish the city of Joppa in Palestine, which had rebelled against him. So Joppa now rebelled against Thutmose. In command of the expedition was the great general Tuti. Ni isome idholod ni wachon Tuti. So the great general Tuti, who was the trusted friend and royal companion of Pharaoh. Pharaoh is a foreign word. It's not an African word. Pharaoh gi niluongo gi ni Nesut. Nying ne en Nesut. Jogono nok luong, onge time mane giluongo leader gin Pharaoh. Niluonge ni Nesut. And to show that he came as Pharaoh's representative, he brought with him the great royal scepter, a golden mace called Beautiful in Strength. Thuti camped outside Jaffa, a mile or so from the city, which was surrounded with great walls, all heavily fortified. Very soon, he realized that to conquer the city by force of arms was almost impossible, and that to reduce it by laying siege might take months or even years. It seemed to Thuti that Jaffa was only to be taken by guile. So when he had made his plans, he sent a herald with a message asking the governor of Joppa to meet him next day, midway between the city and the camp. The governor agreed readily to this during the night, and the governor readily agreed to this. And during the night, Thuti caused a great pavilion to be pitched on the level sand, half a mile from the camp, and the same distance from the great gate of Joppa. There were no trees or bushes anywhere about, and there seemed to be nowhere in the pavilion where enough men could hide to raise suspicion of treachery. But nonetheless, Thuti had prepared all that he needed for his great attempt in the 200 baskets that stood ready packed along the back wall of the silken pavilion. When the governor of Jaffa arrived, Thuti welcomed him and a canopy spread in front of the entrance to the pavilion. But first, he led him inside so that he could see that no armed men were hiding there. When the governor's guard withdrew to a little distance, Thuti sent his own handful of attendants out of earshot, and the two sat down under the canopy to drink their wine and discuss the situation. They talked for a long time, each making offers which the other refused. And they talked the governor. As they talked, the governor drank more and more of the strong wine. Telo, yeah, man, one minute.
Angawache.
Tela duogo bedo babaji wuon ji ok tugo.
Ber malich. Ber. Aya.
Ok tugo.
Alright. Wadhi ber.
Alafu wacho ne gigolo offers and the other was refusing. And as they talked, the governor drank more and more of the strong wine of the south, which Thuti of the strong wine of the south, while Thuti saw to it that his cup was never empty for long. When he felt that the governor's wits were becoming a little dazed, Thuti said to him, after looking suspiciously all around the pavilion to make sure that no one could possibly overhear him, "My friend, it seems to me that I can only take this city after a siege of 2 years. If I take so long, Pharaoh will be angry and take away my rank and riches. For the cost of keeping a large enough army to surround Joppa for 2 years will be very great. And Thutmose does not like to spend money, but rather to hoard it. And if I go back to him now and say that Joppa is too strong to take by assault and can only be reduced by a 2-year siege, he will be angrier still and may even take away my life. Tuti paused, and the governor became interested. What do you suggest? He asked eagerly. Pharaoh has always been a hard master to me, said Tuti. I am sure that you will be a kinder and more generous one. It is in my mind to betray Pharaoh's cause and to betray Pharaoh's cause and join you in a revolt against him. I speak by Jawa, my God, that you shall be second only to myself in the new kingdom which we shall carve out of Pharaoh's domains, cried the governor. Then he paused doubtfully and added, but how am I to know that you do not mean to trick me? If I open my gates to your army as to friends, may not these friends become enemies once they are inside my walls? I thought of that, answered Tuti. We are sensible men. We know that oaths can be broken. So I will swear none to you. We know that loyalty and honor are but empty words, so I will not speak of them, but I will give you a greater surety than any of this. Yourself? Interrupted the governor eagerly. Yes, if you give yourself up to me, I will trust your word. For a man's own life is the only thing of real value to him. I would willingly give myself up to you here and now, said Tuti. But if I did so, how do we know that Pharaoh's army will not cast me off to die in your hands? Elect a new general and attack Job. No, sorry. It says, but if I did so, how do we know that Pharaoh's army will not cast me off to die in your hands? Elect a new general and attack Joppa. No, I have a better surety still. Me, you may take after you have taken that. Come, I will show you. He led the governor into the pavilion and pointed to the baskets ranged along the wall. See, he said, here is the strongest thing in the world. In these sealed baskets is all the money to pay Pharaoh's army for 6 months, which he thought would be enough for the whole expedition. And in them also are such treasures as might be needed for other purposes, such as bribing friendly princes and rewarding faithful governors. I came from Egypt with more than 200 such baskets. All this remain. See? As he spoke, Tuti broke the seal on one of the baskets, opened the lid, and showed the governor Joppa, that it was indeed filled with gold and precious things. To prove to you that I mean no trickery, I will send all of the sealed baskets into Joppa, and they shall be yours absolutely. This one I have opened, I will keep as my own share. I am sure you will not grudge it to me. Without the money, the army cannot exist, and will not rebel will set up another general. However, whoever has the money commands the army. So I will summon 400 of my men, whom I trust. They will come before us unarmed, and as you will see, and carry the baskets into Joppa. You will send your chariot before them to bear the news and cause the gates to be opened in readiness. But you yourself will remain with me until you and I have seen the treasure carried into the city. Then I will speak to the army and tell the men of what has chanced, and they will be faithful to you. And you, who will then have the money, you and you, who will then have the money to pay them. All this seemed very straightforward and satisfactory to the governor. Like most Asiatics, he saw nothing unusual in an army and its general changing sides, particularly if it paid well enough to do so. And he could see no way in which Tuti might be cheating him. So he agreed to the plan and instructed his charioteer, saying, "Drive ahead of the bearers until you come to the great gates of Joppa. Then bid them open and lead the bearers with their loads into the city, crying, 'Rejoice, for Jahua has given Tuti and all that is his into our hands. Behold, here the vanguard of his tribute.' Then Tuti summoned 400 of his men, who came before them unarmed and picked up the baskets, 2 men each basket, and carried them slung on poles and on poles thrust through their handles. When they had started on their way across the open desert towards Joppa, the governor said suddenly, 'Tuti, my friend, it was told me that you had brought with you the Pharaoh's scepter, which is called Beautiful in Strength. It is said that magic goes with it, and the might of Pharaoh. Will you not therefore touch me on the brow with it, and set it on my hands? Then bow down before me as your new lord.' 'That will I do willingly,' answered Tuti, his eyes flashing suddenly. 'Come into the pavilion where the precious scepter is hidden.' So they went into the pavilion, and Tuti drew out the golden mace, beautiful in strength, from its hiding place, and showed it to the governor, who was so lost in awe and admiration, he fell on his knees before it. 'Touch me on the forehead with it,' he cried. 'Give me the power that goes with it. Look at me, governor of Joppa, enemy of Pharaoh, Thutmose. Life, health, strength be with him,' cried Tuti. 'Thus Amen-Ra, the great god of Egypt, gives him victory over a traitor.' So speaking, he struck the governor on the head with a beautiful instrument and crushed his skull with a single blow. Then he went back to the entrance of the pavilion and stood there in the shadow of the canopy, quietly buckling on his armor, as he watched the bearers draw near and enter into Joppa. For the charioteer who went ahead had cried aloud to the watchmen of the gate, 'Rejoice, for we have come. Tuti the Egyptian, his army is our army. And in these 200 baskets come the vanguard of his tribute, all the gold and precious things which Pharaoh sent to pay his troops.' So the 400 unarmed men entered into Joppa and set down the baskets in the gateway. Speedily they broke the seal and opened the lids, and out of the basket sprang an armed man. And in each basket were arms and weapons for the men who carried the baskets. The people of Joppa were taken by surprise. 600 armed Egyptians were easily able to capture and hold this great city until Tuti. Let me repeat that. The people of Joppa were taken by surprise, and the 600 armed Egyptians were easily able to capture and hold the great gate until Tuti and his army reached it and marched into the city. So Joppa fell in one day, and Tuti sent a letter to Pharaoh saying, 'Rejoice, for Amen-Ra your father has delivered the governor of Joppa into your hands, along with the city and all his people. Send men to carry away the spoils and lead captive male, female slaves to fill the house of Amen-Ra. Send men to occupy Joppa and hold it for you forevermore.' Tuti continued on his way after the capture of Joppa, and brought all the lands round about under Egyptian rule. Then he returned to Pharaoh, and Thutmose heaped honors and riches upon him, and gave him a great golden bowl, which may still be seen with its inscription, Tuti, the follower of Pharaoh in every country, the trusted follower of Pharaoh, the commander of the garrison, the overseer of the north countries, the trusted man of Pharaoh in every foreign country, and the islands which are in the midst of the sea. He who fills storehouses with lapis lazuli, silver and gold, the commander of the army, praised by the Pharaoh of upper and lower lands, Thutmose, Thutmose Ra Menkefa, even the royal companion, Tuti. That story ends there. Only.
GK. I suspected immediately. Kichako Some and those negotiations and alcohol is involved. I knew somebody was being tricked. There was a trick somewhere. Yeah. But what a story. And what about when about is this story told, Ramoth? If I may start there. In terms of
Okay. In terms of time frame.
yes, timeline, yes,
Okay.
time frame.
Okay. What he with the Thutmose the third? What you come out? I don't notice Thutmose. Ekuma, the name Moses comes from.
Yes.
Moses, Oknelungen Moses, and that is how we say it. Lilungen Moses, Kaka Thutmose. Okay. Thutmose, macro akawa na Wikipedia. Wacho kama. Thutmose the third, engage in Gono, ma idogine gilungo ni Kemet, ne onge the third, fourth and fifth. Mago gik ma wazungu moketo. Gin ging'eyo gi kama. So, variously spelled Thutmose or Thotmes. Ancient Egyptian, give me a kakindike in Egypt. Sometimes called Thutmose the Great, was a pharaoh of the 18th dynasty of Egypt. He is regarded as one of the greatest warriors, military commanders, and military strategists of his time. As Egypt's preeminent warrior pharaoh, conqueror, and a dominant figure in the New Kingdom period. Officially, Thutmose ruled Egypt from 28 April 1479 BC until his death in 11th March 1425 BC. But for the first 22 years of his reign, he was co-regent with his stepmother and aunt Hatshepsut, who was named Pharaoh. He became sole ruler under Hatshepsut's death in 1458. Koromano giwachonen around 1479 BC to 11th March 1425 BC. So no reign for 54 years. So mano even before, mano before Christ, but kwacho time mar Africa tuwachoga before the current era, before the current era, BCE. Nkech the current era mawantie, wazunge count it with Jesus. So, and before the current era, so BC. So ma en no reign for 54 years. So in 1000 and or that 1000 and over 1000 and something years before Jesus.
Yeah,
Ma onge kata Israel onge. That nation called Israel does not exist yet.
Doesn't exist yet. That's what I read.
It doesn't exist yet. There's nothing like Israel. There's nothing like Iran. Those onge gigo, they do not exist. There's nothing like Arabia, Saudi Arabia, Mago, those things do not exist. It's just cities. So in a very, very, very old story. Amamiang is in Wazunga, they're obsessed with this, with finding these military generals and what they did. In case the things they did are written. So no reign for his reign was 54 years. So you watch on Thutmose his military campaigns. Thutmose conducted at least 16 campaigns in 20 years. So man, almost a campaign every year.
Yeah.
And was referred to as the Napoleon of Egypt. Manokata Napoleon Okchop. For his conquest and expansionism. He is recorded to have captured 350 cities during his rule, and conquered much of the Near East, from the Euphrates to Nubia, Koro, and Sudan. He was the pharaoh after Thutmose I to cross. He was the pharaoh after Thutmose I to cross the Euphrates, doing so during his campaign against the Mitanni. His campaign records are inscribed onto the walls of the temple of Amun at Karnak. So in Enogikmanotimogi, they are inscribed. It is not some book. Magintie wall Nyakasani. He transformed Egypt into an international superpower, an empire stretching from the Asian regions in Syria in the north to Upper Nubia in the south. Manokara Nyakakumajo Luenti. Much is known about Thutmose as a warrior and ruler, though the writings of his royal scribe and army commander, Tanunei, the pharaoh was able to conquer so many lands because of his revolutionary developments in military technology. So the Hyksos may have brought advanced weaponry. The Hyksos did not bring advanced weaponry. That is Makoro Gimedo. Kirango the story. Magimedo. Alafu ntie a story about the Battle of Megiddo. From the Battle of Megiddo, we get the word Armageddon. Okay, the Jogono, they really wiped the enemies. So Manema Gila Kanya, the same story Amakobedo brought into Christianity. Kagyochon Gibo defeat Kamano, Kaka the Pharaohs, Ticket and Nikoro and about Nobo and Armageddon. Armageddon work from Megiddo, War Manotim Reno. And it was the largest battle of Nena, a very big battle. Mattered most in his 17th campaign. It was the 17th campaign. Tonen around Mount Carmel. Kumiwinjon Abraham Giriwokie, that area. So no migi thrashing. Complete thrash. Manyaka sani the Gisomoga these things. Inenoka Kama is an example of how it was done. So Giero Somogigi and Magi stories Majowa Nonge. No Wanonge. Mommy Kataki relate with Moro Magi nature. Mara Abek and Abek and Gak. And also much. You see the same kind of thinking, you see the same kind of ways of looking at things, the same methods of strategy in Enoka Ginkani. But the Bella Wachegi Morotel.
I'm listening to the story of how Tuti managed to wink the governor. A question.
Watching Tuti in the African. No, who do governor an Asian.
Yeah, Koro is it one and only while conquering, or when they want to, whenever say a general wanted to conquer a new territory, or approach gifts, friendship, promises, mag peace, generally deception kabisa. and then all of a sudden waneno sees the power through ka ng'ani osedonjo line kabisa makoro osewuonde mose. One question ni why are they so easily manipulated by power kagineno, and they are being shown, for example, king'isa yaona ofuko achiel kantai say ni awane moro kedane or I don't know, but anyway, why are they so easy?
And question maber nikech ineno mano,
Yes.
those are the questions monego apenj, nikech ineno sani kata kowacho ng'ama noyud kod 250 million cha, this is exactly gima notimne and it's just nwayude. But what he was selling or what he has sold is much bigger.
Yes, and it's good nikech you mentioned Sani. The other part of that, nikech part B of the same question would also want to know Nito, what lessons does it teach us about leadership? The leadership, trust, and vigilance in both traditional societies and then modern.
Maok kata leadership. Ma en about African strategy. Ma en a snapshot of African strategy. Emomiyo wacho ni tinde yudo Africans tek nikech they are completely gibehave kaka jojofa. Gin so quickly gidhi sana. Okay, wadhi through the story nikech ipenjo question maber. Mano is an important question. Okay, onyalo chal question ma simple but mage question wacho ga nade telo. Ang'o ma gin the first technology? Questions.
The first technology.
Questions. Kipenjri the right questions tiboneno so many things. The first thing en Tatmos ong'ere. Gimotimo ong'ere. Emomiyo ogolo ng'ani with a mess miluongo ni beautiful in emomiyo iluonge ni beautiful in strength.
Beautiful in strength.
Mano ng'iso bedo dichuo. Ni beauty mare is in strength. So kata kiyudo kineno kaka gidhino iwacho ni Tuti camped outside Jaffa, a mile or so from the city. Mabor kiasi, ok machiegni. Alafu iwacho which was heavily very fortified. Very soon he realized that to conquer the city by force of arms was almost impossible, and that to reduce it by laying siege might take months or even years. Ineno the old strategies. Kilo jowagi. Or realize the limits of the old strategies. Modern Africans ng'ise no surpass gik mopuonjego as the things that work. Is a very nikech mago ema miye en gi title ma doctor and whoever. Kata ng'ama ok odhi school. Ok awach mana ni ng'ama odhi school. But this majority of these things are run by joma iluongo ni professionals, quote unquote. So nitie some knowledge moket e wigi. But overcoming that knowledge bedoga very difficult nikech that knowledge is their identity. Kata wachri koro jowa. En engineer Ogada. Ok en Ogada mariek ga. Part of rieko no bedoga expressed through engineering. En you understand gima wacho? So everything when oneno in this world onene through engineering. So since gino bedo respected means en oriek 24 hours. But ineno gima interesting about it, gima miyo Tatmos ohere. or realize kata limit ma to calculation ne ber nikech wacho it might take months or even years. Aya, mindset matu mano ema mokwongo. So kane gi study jogi kata nikech jomo translate story gi mang'eny gin wazunge, ne gin very interested. Egypt is so interesting to them, ok inyal believe. Owacho ni it seemed that Joffa could only take it by guile, not deception, guile. Guile. English. Tim ni gimoro ka. Giwacho kama nikech nitie something ma jogi timoga which is very interesting. Kidhi online to giwacho kama, agolo gino mos load. Owacho kama, wane ka gini nitie kode. Wane kama nitie kode. Bas, entie kode. Okay. Mary Webster. Obadho gi Miriam, whatever, however they call it. Wacho kama. Guile. The first definition, and deceitful cunning. The key word is cunning. The second, magiwachon, is obsolete. This meaning is obsolete. Is stratagem or a trick. Makoro wachon, no win through deception is not true. It is a cunning strategy or a trick. Aya. Gimomiyo wacho kamano, ntiega dictionaries wawach kama. There's a way to read dictionaries. My example mami with kaka waparoga gigi. Majority of times wasomoga the meaning momiwa. Kaka mawachon duplicity, deceitful cunning, duplicity. Obsolete meaning stratagem or trick. Werigi this modern meaning, dogi the original meaning. Nikech gimiga etymology. That is usually the most important definition of the word. Giwachon Middle English, gile, from Anglo-French, or probably of Germanic origin, akin to the Old English word wigle, meaning divination. Nang'isi katelo, nwasomo ka, ni in the court of the king, the words are different.
Yes.
Even in the Luo court of the king, Markir, Marruoth, the words opogore. Gino gitiyogo nyaka English. Emomiyo jowa, they cannot overcome the strategy. Yeah, not the strategy. Ok ginyal overcome the knowledge magin go. How? Nikech osemiye definition and he'll stick to that. Okobi luo, what does this word? Kaka nwaluo God. Ok gilu ga to the core kuma jogo golo the word. So niyudo ka giwachon divination. The original word from English mean divination. So kidok to the original tiyudo time moro nowacho ka about ng'ane noluongo ng'ano. Abek noluongo diviner. Jajuok. Bogone kwan. And I even showed those things magitiyogo. En a mathematical equation. Alafu ng'ane be no abek be gak noluongo moro. Tabek noluongo moro. And Abek did not listen to the mathematics or the calculation or the strategy. And Gak no winjo. But in English, is in divination mondo ipar ne magic. But it is a good strategy. Okay, I hope no ka confuse mano, but awacho ni kidok story to wacho kamano ni he could get it by guile, meaning by a different strategy. The two earlier strategies, siege and outright war, gin impossible. Ma is the first way Moabedoga set up. Kata the words we use trap us in the same understandings. And I go to an example can what you call the word guile. To kick out the dictionary definition, Tibo Moko. But kid it down into the real Nkechigin, what to them is the king's language. Kidok back to the king's court. You don't, they are talking about something totally different that kings understand. Tagiwacho divination to understand. Gimagiwacho. It's not the same as Wachon, it was just trickery. Okay. So in saw how this thing happened. You saw how this thing happened. So the interesting thing is Gikmoti you go convincing. Okay, the knowledge structure. The knowledge structure, Moti you go convincing this is not a trick. Okay. It's very actually these African stories. Among you gain interested. They look at them, begin to give someone, these people were just against God and they were enslaving God's people. And they were evil. So anything to do with Pharaoh means the devil. Do not read anything from Egypt. This is paganism.
So ka emotion manene no guru dwa mo bedo planted in your brain. Kaito jogi mano chando ruodhwa cha. Yes.
Neginego nyaka Nyasaye and Moses and all
I
those
guess
stories. So so Okinyal walk. So such a story you cannot look at it. Nikechimi how he did it. How to mean psychologically. Because there's a conversation matimre kanyo. Okay. Now again, but what Africans were doing these things does not make sense. It does not make Okdi with the story of them walking naked and just thinking about food
There's a
and
disconnect.
suffering. Yeah, so it becomes difficult. Yeah, and a lot of the books were taken, but people think it's a joke. Alafu kako Osoe, when the governor of Jaffa arrived, Tuti well the governor trusts their walls because they are really well made. Problem of not trust the walls. The walls are really well made. In case kata Tuti rango the walls to watch on really
And it needs 2 years. Needs 2 years.
Mano ngise. Mano ngise. In case en kaka no go kwan no watch on reduced by laying siege might take months or even years. No watch Samungi so come no watch specific number of years. But Emma watch on the structure of information mommy in case some wuyo code in a certain structure.
But the broader picture is that they Katabend and Wonobe confirm those walls are fortified properly.
Yeah. Don't get more watch. That's why the strategy has to change. To enga ngane enga kod Tatmos my is his trusted friend my manga mobedo inscribed kata kwadhi go not wadhi neno kama ngani he lived and his life is inscribed on the walls. So and when Tatmos Netimo 26 campaigns he was there. He took part in more of those campaigns. So Magi Joma, they are inside the king's court. Ma is very important. Getting inside the king's court. Catch the other time na somo how the Luo king's court looks like. Ibo you know this the Ibo I will wabo dikuro. Kata ember. So wacho ni tuti onowacho kama. The governor readily no sent a word to him. Only saying he sent a herald with a message asking the governor to come meet him next day, midway between the city and the camp. Neutral ground. Okay, any city, but okay, boot camp. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mano important. Very important. The governor agreed readily to this. During the night, Tuti caused a great pavilion to be pitched on level sand, half a mile from the camp and the same distance from the gate of Jaffa. There were no trees or bushes anywhere about, and there seemed to be nowhere in the pavilion where enough men could hide to raise suspicion of treachery. Okay. Tarehe no kakobiro.
Uh-huh.
So Oloso Pavilion. To Oketo Pavilion no kama there's no tree, there's no bush. So ineno all around. But also a great pavilion. Oparo nie gimoro. Kata kirango situation ma wantie gagi. Oparo nie gimoro. Donge pavilion no chali conferences mang'eny gimitero jowa gima per diem.
Ingeni chal ng'ama osomo pacha adwacho ni inyono kama mai padiem night out
Bas. Special parties.
moko be iluongo ni ang'o risk allowances moko iluongo ni
Bas.
all that.
Special parties. Language no ten ka. And this is thousands of years kata kapok onyuol Yesu.
Yeah.
If at all the man existed. But that is not the discussion of today. Alafu, the governor arrived. Tuti welcomed him under a canopy spread in front of the entrance of the pavilion. Okati mbele kendo loso another canopy kanyo. But first, led him inside so he could see no armed men were hiding there. Irwake box ni completely. Yani, Tuti understand kaka ng'ani paro completely. Nang'isi telo ni jogi not cow some time to study us before negating what they did. 400 plus another experiment of 400. Makoro kwaromo kode, it is almost 800 years later.
Mm.
Manawajon, they had patience. Where did they learn that?
Yeah, and
Some of these stories.
the one thing they're good at is patience. They're very
Because
patient.
they take a lot of time, some of these stories. These African stories, you spend so much time with them.
I think Nyakagi spend a lot of time with them then because remember there is a connection. Kaki I mule something ni ki saying isongato ni history ni ini wotoga duk ni onge ge paro mora onge manoda kanya ne manda kanyo. But then another 100 years later inwanga different story. The story no kuingese ke some me interpreting ise kaka eno to the contradict gima ni se ketiwi gimo kwongo cha. So you must think for a way, must story mara rioni nyaka blend gi story mokwongo cha. So you are really doing a proper study and a proper psychological warfare in your mind. You are breaking them completely down, completely. They must forget anything they might want.
Kabisa. And after that, then you have to implant this self-hate as a gate. So he hates himself so much.
Nyinge maro mondi cha en pagan. Nyaka luongi ni George.
Yes. Alafu kidonjo kanyo, you become a person. We respect you now. Onge respect
In school, kingisi school, tingisi idhi benjo engineer, idhi benjo professor.
Yes.
Koro complete. You are a complete human being.
Alafu giwachoni, then the governor's guards koro gisedonjo boseneno canopy. Meaning, kowuok e canopy omiyo guards ne ka signal. Kila kitu iko sawa. Donge ok oneno gimoro. Ogo e signal. Then the governor's guards withdrew to a little distance. Tuti then sent his own handful of attendants out of earshot. Enoonge kata guards. Managa attendants. And the two sat down under the canopy to drink their wine and discuss the situation. Osoe box second part. Osoe box second part. Mano minango. Mokwongo neno mana attendance. Onge ji mantie kod swords. Onge anything.
Oh, strategy en mare total o win total trust ni koro. Okine danger moramora. Yeah. Trust.
So no chake I canopy.
Koro trust ni. Koro you are gine bedo lowered kabisa. You are gado bedo lowered kabisa. You are okay. Wacha ka onge danger.
After wacho, they talked for a long time, each making offers which the other refused. And as they talked, the governor drank more and more of the strong wine of the south, while Tuti saw to it that his cup was never empty for long. Yani telo kata kineno jogi kodhi gineki, jowa makoro gatekeepers gi kodhi telo iolonegi ga kong'o kanyo, but ok ole immediately nikech obo suspect something is up. Koro owachoni it is not empty for long. Imiye some space of being empty. Koro nyaka iwe bo winj ni gini is empty. Alafu kimed. So the talk is not the point. For Tuti, the talk is not the point. So onyalo suggest mana gik ma ridiculous. Mong'e ni ng'ani botamre.
To kotamre, to koro no gini koro chamo wiye. Wachwade glass machielo. Negotiation ni tek, wachame kendo glass machielo. Kare ng'acha is simply giving you ridiculous gine maparo heading nowhere. Suggestions.
That strategy to go everywhere. Mano is the strategy of the supermarket. Mano is the strategy of the mall. Mano is the strategy of the airport. We just need to keep you here long enough. Our aim is just to keep you here long enough. Mane miti yogo stadium. Ondik kure a match must last 90 minutes. Onyalo last 120. Onyalo last 60. It doesn't matter. But ma en waket sianda ji these chairs. That is the point. That is the point.
Kata na bei gik moko, kata na how they price things, bendi chamo go wi.
But
Something
ing'eyo kata ka gino en cheap. To away ka aim gi kata seche moko the price is not the issue. And we want you here. The more you stay here, the more you spend. Wakaw example kaka airport. Sometimes the reason why your flight will last 4 hours. Kichiem ka biang. Ichulo trip from Europe to Africa 400. Iwen ng'ama tugo kodi bwana. Naka ng'wateng ji kar ka.
Ninde go bed flight obedo delayed.
Nikech seche moko to nitie delay, but nyaka mi
Normal ka I understand. To moko to and strategies be aparo gan samoro nitie.
aya. Telo ang'isi jogi neno ga a lot in these stories. One more neno ga no value in them. One neno no value in them. To gin gisomo these things to mano business leader. Inti somo about Elon Musk. Ento somo gigi. Kendo analyze gi so much. Owacho. When he felt the governor's wits were becoming a little dazed, Samangani koro oseyudo liquid confidence. Sama liquid confidence osechako bedo confidence koro. Ok en mana liquid kende. Owacho ni when he felt the governor's wits were becoming a little dazed, Tuti said to him, after looking suspiciously around the pavilion to make sure that no one could possibly overhear him. George, Tuti ne bwana. Kata kiluonge en Tuti adier. Kotieko kodi tiwacho ni thu. Ng'ani otiya tich. En Tuti adier. Otiyo ng'ani tich.
Telo mane en gono ok nokawa akawa podasiko. Ng'ama ong'e no ng'ama nyalo gini.
Winje kako chako, my friend. It seems to me that I can only take the city after a siege of 2 years. If I take so long, Pharaoh will be angry and take away my rank and riches. For the cost of keeping a large enough army to surround Jaffa for 2 years will be very great. And that most does not like to spend money, but rather to hoard it. And if I go back to him now and say that Jaffa is too strong to take by assault and can only be reduced by a 2-year siege, he will be angrier still and may even take away my life. Isewinjo Didi, labda jotuoro pok owinjo gini. But wan joma opon ni city, joma luongi ga ni my friend, ng'eny sana.
Wan giluongo ni jayadha.
My friend. Nakwambia hii kitu my friend.
Jotuoro wacho jayadha.
Nyaka the words telo. Ma 1400 years kata kapok onyuol Yesu. At this time, there is no Greek Empire, there is no Roman Empire, there is no Chinese Empire. These things do not exist. There is no Japanese Empire. There's none. Gigo do not exist. There's no Mongolian Empire. Gigi do not exist. So jogi go kuan at this level.
Tutito already en wiye ni malo ma.
Iwinjo kaka iwacho ni ne suit ne en ker no conquer how much?
350.
No, 350 cities.
Cities, yes.
Onyono piny. To ma ok majarateng'. Emomiyo ouda nang'isi ne nyaka gibed piny for some time. Alafu ne nyaka giket this war mabor. Nyaka neg ng'ani from far. Nikech kochopo ka to it is over. It is over. Owacho, this conversation telo. This conversation is very important. Nikech owuoyo kod governor. Meaning ang'o telo? Ma ng'amo understand accounting and calculations.
Correct.
Wawe kanyo.
Mana kata mana from his nitie gimowacho kacha. Wacho ni whatever near baskets go is enough to pay those soldiers for the next about 6 months.
Winzie.
Mano calculation. En gi a battalion to ting'o mwandu go osego kwan gi mong'eni magi bro chulo kata lweny ni kodhi for another 6 months. Jogi are secured, gin secured ni bro chulgi for the next 6 months.
Mos. Telo magi
ere kaka ok en accountant.
Magi levels mek emomiyo stories wao ok inyal yud romo go mayot.
To Ramoth, I want to push it beyond kaka wanyalo some as a historical event, because I think that's where we get it wrong. We read it as an historical event, because that's how it gidwaran mane kaka we understand it. But kawa invite it, kata stretch a bit to reflection on culture and also katamana contemporary society as you explore it deeply. Then my question could be nito, especially sani, piny mwantiere sani. I think the myth has been dealt with. These people used the defeat. They used manipulation and what. It was strategy, and they were just very calculative. But in your view, how can people preserve their sovereignty, culture, and identity without becoming suspicious of every outsider who comes in peace? In short, how should our antennas be so high that we know that this, then we pick up quickly this outsider. Peace. Either we have to be suspicious so that we can guard against his trickery, or how do we at some point know this one to end peaceful? And I wanna quickly connect it to, say, Ramogi Cultural Institute for Luo Heritage Research and Education. We building back the village, right? And we are building that back that village back in a world that is surrounded by quote unquote, and lack of a better word, modernity, and you have got people with various ideas and various intentions and various gibende gin kod pach gimoro ma giparo ni paro ni nyalo tiyo, but you look at how do you depict that could be a very good idea in your mind, but culturally it's not going to work here. So how alert should we be, and how alert can people be, and not only around Ramogi Cultural Institute but around life generally? Nyithindwa madongo sani, you can't blame them because they are picking up each and every information they think is for them and all this. How do we build confidence enough around nyithindwa matindo madongo, around ourselves, jogo mosebedo jomadongo, but sometimes you also still get manipulated. You also follow samoro kia ichung ajawacho gach moro kana ichunga kara. When you feel culture works, you are one leg is in your culture. Samoro bende kifeel ni bro bedo judge gi ipondo ne jo kanisa midhiga eka kendi chaki ringo in ja kanisa and all that. These things happen. How do we guard against such come up, in your opinion, based on this story? Kaka jogi ne capture this guy gentleman is just something else. We use a lot of is a lot of common sense to get to take these kingdoms. 360, 350 is not a joke. How do we remain alert?
Kata kwadhi kod mbaka, ineno ni nitie a very watim kama, wamed rango this governor mondo wane, nikech is the one who is being got.
Correct.
Mondo ne kwanyalo draw those lessons from there. But one thing manyalo wacho ni trust en gima bedo earned.
Yep, a good point to start with.
To ng'ama keto trust, ng'ama dwaro trust no nyaka prove daily. At the end of the day, ka piny odhi, ka chieng' opodho, kaka iwachoga chon nopodho, to koro kendo to wachako the test kendo from beginning. Especially Africa kuma nitie ni makoro about trust nikech owuoyoga maber. Mago gik ma Africa onego grow out of. Aneno an example telo. Mfam ni wachung' e gini. Waka represent ourselves before juogi pile. Nyaka juogi bi pimwa ni magi mana jaba koso. To nyaka wabi with the different sources mang'ich and this is kama, nikech halfway through ji lwarga. Joma dong' ga tin. Gimoro ni bochopo kamano miwacho now this one can be trusted. Mago paro mek nyithindo matindo. Nyako earn it every day, especially Africa kuma wantie. So winje conversation mar governor, nikech governor penjo gigo. Alafu wacho ni winje kaka ong'ise, owuoyo kod ng'ani gik ma make sense. Okwongo chako kod a whole framework which is true. Ong'ise what is true. Gini at least bokawo 2 years. To bobedo expensive timo siege. Bobedo very expensive. So magi gik ma the governor knows nikech gin ge fortified. Time mano wacho ni The walls are fortified. Gino kao pesa to fortify that thing. Emomiyo ineno Oriek noluongo governor o kata army general noluongo governor. Kanye mana nochako gini already. Noluongo governor. So owuoyo with the governor language ma governor wacho. Nikech the governor be with the same problems and with the same problems. Obe ka jogi otimo siege for long, joge bo starve nikech ok cities gi kanineno kaka niloso gi. The farming was done outside, not inside the city. Or else the city bo bedo too big and it can be run over. Nyaka obed compact. So farming is done outside. So obe en interest mar tieko this gini piyo mondo joge kik starve. Emomiyo niluonge ni siege. So wacho ni onyise ni then Tuti paused and the governor became interested. Oling. After wacho the first point, Oling. What do you suggest? He asked eagerly. Question no wok kure. Question ma wacho, what do you suggest? Openjo eagerly. Why openjo this question? What do you suggest? Nikech omulo chunye ng'ani.
Yeah.
But okomulo chunye in terms of heart. Iwinjo gik mowacho.
Yeah.
Owuoyo about the cost of this expedition. Governor ma Kenya kende mantie kanyo to steal money. Majority of governors some other places or even Africa mantie kanyo for that purpose. Majority of jogo kidwaga neno how with the given budget ginyalo timo the services that are necessary. So anything manyalo reduce cost, they are very friendly towards. So ineno gima i-offer opportunity ma reduce costs to so your profit. The same thing me offer ga jowage. Aya, wacho kama.
Ramoth Gingia in terms of talking in terms of governors gi. Jokang'ie in terms of any great nikech gimotimo ne noganda. En mane kaka gipimo greatness. Kingdom no igere nadi. County mirito no igere nadi. Okikwalo pesa maram nadi. Is that's the difference. Bar joka gi jowa.
You mean nadi?
For example, in governor, oganda mirito mi governor gi. Greatness ni gipimo in terms of gima gineno ni timo negi. That's why ka in gi budget, to ka budget no nyalo bedo reduced to imore nikech ibro achieve a lot for your people, for your community. To mowa gi to opogore kabisa. En obro kosego kwan mar 200 momi joma bro werne, that's enough. Modong okete mfuko.
Telo kata ka governor ofuo nadi. Then one thing makata enega reality. People's problems are longer than your money. People's problems are always longer than your money. Your money will be over faster than people's problems. Emangani wuoyo kode about this. His concern is not only winning. The walls are perfect, again fortified. Onge kama jogi dhi donje. Ngani ok hit him about the walls. Ngani hit him about the finances of Joppa. Ngani wuoyo kode about. To mondo nyinge obed a good governor is what? Mokwongo, he has not cost them money. Mar ariyo, otieko the war, but otieko kokao resources omedo resources. Alafu golo gi lwet start mos. Mano koro ing'eno timo gima ogo 3 things dichiel.
Kendo yo mayot sana.
Ma wantiego gi to kinyal luongo ni governor bana. Ang'isi ga pile, magi brokers. Magi ing'e gima telo ok understand about these leaders.
Na 001 bwana. Ni governor 001.
Ing'e gima ok understand from jogi. Majority of jogi kose dhi meetings, kagise dhi pavilion go, bagineno the real people. To gi realize ni kara en a watchman, glorified watchman. So gineno ni kagitimo gikgigo, to riek nikech okwalo ng'a? Okwalo joka. Okwalo joka. Majority of jogi neno ka ni gikwalo wazunga. Emomiyo NGOs operate ga kama. Kata these politicians be operate kama. Gineno ga ni gigo jogi chenga moro mahali ya juu kabisa. Mzungu nofuo completely. Koro kimiye budget miriambo, to he does not know what you're doing. Ng'ama miyi, wachni kata omiyi $20 million. To golo 40 billion in your economy. Tineno ni riek kabisa. Yani ki make proposal ma ichamo nthindo 100. Ing'ise ni gi nthindo 100 ma imaginary. Tineno ni riek. To kara ken game ma mriambo nie master. Kata rieko miparo nitie space moro miriekno, en moloso space no. He exist in space no. Nikech kokobiro bokelo idea ma NGO, to society uonge kumunyalo kwelo. Bomigi nyaka ridiculous names, non-governmental organizations.
NGO.
Awacho kama. Ok ni NGOs rach. Awacho mana ami mano as an example of kaka, nikech kanyo, there are many kata government operate kama new schools. Gineno ni giriek. Chal ng'ama timo kama telo. Wawere kod NGO nikech ji bochako bawa kite. Student madhi class, otimo exam, ten gumwa Kenya, but en oneno nokwalo penj. Ok understand ni joma kwalo penj gi ging'eny. Yore ma gikwalo moko nosemigi leakage, moko wuonegi nosedhi nyaka kuro yani the majority of ji makwalo gini ging'eny. Nikech ng'ama ne okelo this idea ma utimo penj, nong'eyo ni ubokwalo, and that is how the system is maintained. Nikech ang'o? Ong'eni first of all, the knowledge is useless. Second, gima nawacho cha, ong'eni many of you will fail. Nikech kila ng'ato ok bi kwalo penj. And mokwalo penj gi, obomi gi mana enough information mondo giduog kuome ka giparo ni giriek. Mondo mi gi some donation. So the system keeps going. To wawanda kaka Africa need the same spot. Wadhi kidhi kod pach ng'ani tiboneno house emomiyo it was important. Wadhi kod pach ng'ani. Okay. Wachone kama. Pharaoh has always been a hard master to me, said Tuti. And I'm sure that you will be a kinder, more generous one. It is in my mind to betray Pharaoh's cause and join you in a revolt against him. Plan. Winje gima wacho. I swear by Jawa, my God. Iwinjo the same place. The same place.
Nying God kanyo koro
Iwinjo the same place. Mane gidhi attack. Nyaka sani wuoyo in that sense. No by so and so. The same language. And then Ansaniki spread no the same idea. Same language. I watch on this. You shall be second only to myself in the new kingdom, which we shall carve out of the Pharaoh's domains, said the governor. Oyude. Alafu be, idea mowacho no, wiye ng'ise ni governor. Idhi sana. Tatmoso ken tugo. Alafu penjo kama. Makoro wiye doki sense Martin. Then he paused doubtfully and added, but how am I to know that you do not mean to trick me? If I open my gates to your army as to friends, may not these friends become enemies once they are inside my walls? Alafu tutingise nade. Telo tutingise nade. I have thought of that, answered Tuti. We are sensible men. We know that odds can be broken. So I will swear none to you. We know that loyalty and honor are but empty words. So I will not speak of them, but I will give you a greater surety than any of this. Telo Tuti nose gong'ani.
Tuti is six steps ahead of this guy.
Makata 15 telo. Koka 100. 15.
And he knows exactly which button to touch. To tieko ng'ani.
Ineno, my manatemo wacho, majority of Joa are like this governor. Position. Position. Emomiyo en kanyo. But ineno, Tuti, magi joma gin ga i court ma king. Magi ok gin kanyo nikech position. Gin kanyo nikech gin e chuo. Gin magiran gini. Governor n kanyo nikech position. To ong'e the principles around kanyo, the finances, organizing the army, feeding the nation, savings, multiply gigi. Ong'eyo the whole language ong'eyo. Emomiyo iyude. Emomiyo Tuti ng'ise kama, we are sensible men. We know oaths can be broken. Gimomiyo wuoyo this language. So I will swear none to you. We know that loyalty and honor are but empty words.
Empty words.
So I will not speak of them, but I will give you greater surety than any of this. abo mi evidence kwa kalatas. Ilungen form
From
what?
34A.
Adi mi form 34A. Toka abo timo ni better. Adi tiri the ballots. Idine no the ballots. Afuacho yourself interrupted the governor eagerly. Yes, if you give yourself up to me, I will trust your word. For a man's own life is the only thing of real value to him. Telo kanyi wacho nade?
Osetelo ni rieko omulo everything ma ng'ano pache. Kama pach ng'ano gike ma mare chakre. Let me summarize. Kama pach governor gikie. Ineno kama rieko ni ogikie cha. Kech gigo te gik mang'ani ong'e ni bro wacho, magi bro paro. To ng'isi ni an be asepare kamano. To mi a better solution. In fact, uwondre no mi a better solution. Kama pachi osegikie cha. Let me widen it up for you. Amedi moro matin mbele ka. In fact, koro kata weche go kabi wacho, kech wanyalo ketho gigo, wanyalo bedo loyalty ga ng'ango ko mago gina empty words. I'm even going to give you a better preposition. Osetieko ng'acha. Osetieke, osetelo ni rieko maonge. Ng'acha ose seal every loophole. Onge kama idhi kale.
Telo, the governor does not get it.
Completely. No, the governor is doing what you've said. The governor is only concerned with position mareni. Nothing else. And governor. That's it.
Alafu winjie kaka wacho. Ka wacho ni bomi surety. Owacho yourself interrupted the governor eagerly. Yes. If you give yourself up to me, I will trust your word. Alafu the second thing mowacho, and he does not get it. But I will give you a greater surety. No, wacho ni, for a man's own life is the only thing of real value to him.
To yourself, kako biro yourself ni. Rama, sorry. Yourself ni. The mime ipenjo yourself. Tiende ni en bende odwa buok ni in be obuok in be in gi teko mar golo eni nyaki penj joma in under people nyaki penj joka. So ng'ani be is it obuok ni yourself? Tiende ni
okobuok.
Otemo
oparo no riek.
Ni in be in go authority to in be oko penjre to
oko question all that. Oko question all that.
Okay.
Ntie gimo parie jo position. No se chako samano ngise. Samano ngise. I swear by Jahwa, my God, that you shall be second only to myself in the new kingdom, which we shall carve out of Pharaoh's domains.
Mano
Jo position tegin gakama. Anything idboya, as long as you me a loyalty. And kila kitu is sawa.
Yeah.
But Gimoacho no, for a man's own life is the only thing of real value to him. Mano luar the ka mo luari.
Mano tieke.
Nikech for Tuti iparo na angoma is of real value to him. His life or Gono.
Gono or his life. That's all
but
I can.
No ma mage makuparon bas ki offer yourself to your positions gidonge makodi kidi office tong is in ne idwa tijni lonye skat.
Yeah, they do it.
Those are their ways. Kata ken nyako, ken mama, kijana, lonye long, ama miasoya. Magot all of those
is the same.
can. Afongi say, I would willingly give myself up to you here now, said Tuti. But if I do so, how do you know that Pharaoh's army will not cast me off to die in your hands or elect a new general and attack Jaffa? No, I have a better surety still. Me, you may take after you've taken that. Come, I will show you. He led the governor into the pavilion and pointed to the baskets ranged. Alafongi said, see, he said, here's the strongest thing in the world, gold. In these sealed baskets is all the money to pay Pharaoh's army for 6 months, which he thought would be enough for the whole expedition. And in them are also such treasures as might be needed for other purposes, such as bribing friendly princes and rewarding faithful governors. Wacho nyaka share mar asoya nitie kanye. Kata mar miyo ji reward.
Yeah.
Mo, nitie mo mar wiro i lwedo. Wacho, ineno nyaka time cha. Koro ema wacho ni telo ineno ka sama jogi go budget, kata wazunge gi sama gigo budget, to ging'eyo ni ineno kata pesa ma engineer ni wang'e ni wami jogi 20 million to wang'e ni gidhi kwalo kata 15. Mano budget ma gigoyo, ok ni ati gikiaga gigi. So ng'ato kawe odhi loso gorofa oparo noriek, but mano nosego kwan. Odhi tiyogo. Telo emomiyo jogi ne take so much time somo these books, to nyaka sani pod gidhiga through them. Into the whole time mitero nyari school, onge time mong'ise, okay, let us now read these African stories, which are, in this case, are called Egypt stories. Let us read this. Maybe it's Cinderella, Red Riding Hood, all the stories ma float. But Baba Gito somo mage. Kose graduate matinti boloke movie.
Hey.
I came from Egypt with more than 200 such baskets. And all this remains, see? Opogre nadi gi ng'ama nodhi oyud sanduku e ode. Moro ning'iso ni bo oyudi. Donge jogi.
There's no difference.
To mondik telo gini okalowa with how many thousands of years? Gini en machon. Makata ka Atila Dianga giri pod gi bor. Yani podi. Generations podi. Akia 500, 600 generations poko nyuole. To magi mbaka macho Africa wacho. This is normal stories ming'iso nyithindo. Nikech ma was a normal story. Magi mane giwacho. Kaka wanowacho ga iluongo nade Pokemon. Kaka wacho ga musicians gi. Magi ema ne en story gi ma kawaida. Telo idwa wache gimoro. Kapok wakao commercial break alafu wadu. Nikech magi ng'eni nyalo miyo ng'ato overload. Waseng'iyo gi story matindo tindo.
Nyoro mudunyo wacho ni nyi overload. GK nitiere kaka I've always said, I want to talk not directly to I want to relate the story code. The essence of doing this. I've always maintained ni, and you always also maintained ni, nyakawa was stick to the goal. And as a person, I know how rich your library is. Every time we are in such scenarios, questions anyalo kelo ni gin questions more na I just relate them. But in my mind, apenjraga ni, how do we make use of this? How do we fine tune the young minds to be people like Tuti? Kane wasomo story ma Lwanda Magere, remember how we used always to relate. Kawa says some more say analyze it. And then the next question would be, we would dwell on any. Fast forward, we have Luanda Mageres now. But they're not Luanda Mageres that we are giving spears. We are giving shields. They're Luanda Mageres of now. And they are in their millions. It's not just one Luanda Magere. How do we send them to the field? With what? And what is the goal? What are they going to conquer? There is no langos to spear and kill. It's a totally different warfare. The field has changed. The tactics have changed. So in that essence also, I'm thinking, these are the kind of stories, the books. Let them go to those normal classes and read about, study about, is the system. Let the system be. That we can read as much as we read about the Napoleon Bonaparte's and we read about, everybody else, Otto von Bismarck and all those people. That now you ask yourself, when did anybody even think about Napoleon Bonaparte? Has zero influence, zero in your life as an African, apart from what he did to Africans. And so the question then could be that then we are getting into a position where we have to build these libraries. And I've said, let them read Bonaparte in the school, but in the institution, they must be taught not how to think, but they must think for themselves. They must read the Tutis and see how their minds were sharp 1,400 years before Christ, rather BC, before whatever era it was. And then you build a confident young Luo people growing up who knows the essence of values of humanity, not the people who want to amass money, amass wealth, ask for bribes when they're want something where, hey, mgolo pesa, or kain ngamanyako, like you've said. They're misused before being given jobs. It happens. We can't bury our heads in the sand and pretend it doesn't happen. Even boys get abused in those offices. So my mind after we read this is that our minds must be constant, and we must be sure that Ramogi Cultural Institute for Luo Heritage Research and Education we are so authentic in this, that our young people's minds are going a new, fresh. We have to take out that old chip in their heads and replace with one that thinks like this general. These were black people. These were Luos. They are the forefathers who went before us. They had this knowledge then. We can return this knowledge to us. It's doable. It's possible. We just need to be very authentic and strategic in doing it. We can't fear doing it. Somebody must start doing it at some point, and that time is now. commercial break. What
Awin
kabir?
ebugo commercial break kama omed kahawa and everything after do.
I do go take care. Sabe osebia. Wow.
Yang ye matuanya ngara yo yang tua. Au madang itu anyari ya kumolo yang okotona malicho mia chuo cha yo kama.
Lo sie wachi dhiang' owada. Wach dhiang' tek kata nikech onyuomi. Konyuomi tidaka daka kata ithago. Wuoru nosechamo dang' itimo ang'o?
Yang ye matuanya malala yang tua. Chalo yang itu anyaro de la gola yang okotona malicho mia chuo cha yo kama.
Iri masani mok nyuomgi kojok to wuok kaka nobiro. To in to tweyi nikech nonyuomi wuoru nochamo.
Yang ye matuanya rukecha tayo yang tua. Chalo yang itu anyaro de la gola yang okotona malicho mia chuo cha yo kama.
Wach dhiang' tek onge kaka dawuoye.
Yang ye matuanya ro de la gola yang tua. Chalo yang itu anyaro gweluano yang okotona maracho mia chuo cha yo kama.
Dhiang' to kosonwa, dhiang' otuowa gi chuo. Dhiang' tui gi ng'at mane ok ing'eyo.
Lewa dhani e magola konyanga budo dhangi tera ngako kwa mapandu dhangi tuwa. Auma dhangi tuwa nyari ya kumolo dhango kosa na malicho miyo chuo chayo wakama.
Inyalo adala hukuma ni leme malich ninge wa Nyasaye kaachiel gi meru gi wuoru. Kidhi e dala michiene ji migoyo koko makata kama ibetie onge. Samoro inyalo yudo kiyudo kuro. To dhiang' otweyi.
Emuta dhani magona konyanga budo dhangi tera ngako budo panu dhango tuwa. Chalo dhangi tuwa nyari ya jotuju dhango kosa na malicho miyo chuo chayo wakama.
Dhiang' omiyo chuo chayowa. Dhiang' ochayowa gadier.
Alot wangu wedoni. Watedoni. Toki chamo ni no miyo jogo chayowa. Auma dhangi tuwa nyari ya jongero dhango kosa na malicho miyo chuo chayo wakama.
Jakong'o yande chamo alot. Kitero alot opiny kamane kaka wuoru gi meru ne tedo ni wuoru. Kidek luoki galodno. Konyuomi takia ni kore timo nang'o. To kata gigo to okokelo.
Ot magigeronwa. Tuwa muono ni. To gidakie omiyo jogo chayowa. Chalo dhiang' tuwa nyaro kecha tayo dhiang' okoso na malicho miyo chuo chayowa kama.
Aneno ka wang'ni opimo ot kanyo nogero. Nomuon mana gi jambali. An wang'ni ok amuon. Aol gi muono kiny ka kiny. To ot ok um. To koth goyi. Ichalo jarit brao. Aol gi thagruok. Wang'ni ok amuon ot makata ang'o. Kata pisi mochung' kata ang'o. Ok abi muoni.
Tokoch magigoyowa. Tuwa ng'anyo ni. Ay tuwa ting'o gwen. Emo bialo gi momiyo jogo chayowa. Chalo dhiang' tuwa nyari ya jongero dhiang' okoso na malicho miyo chuo chayowa kama.
Chieng' manoko pili goya ka to ber. Nyocho goya monyona gi tielo. Mirimo hinga machoko wuoth adhi awe nyaka nyathi matin. Kadonjo kama to mama nena ka wang' omiyo. Openya ni nyako gol ang'o motimi. Akone ni onge gimotimo. Chako nona kaka ng'ato gi nyathine. Akone ni ogoya ma wang'ni okadog makata ang'o matimre okadog. Mama olinga linga. Owacho na ni nyathina. Wan be wadaka daka gi wuoru. Doga. Ng'at ma kite rach no kako riwene nyithindo. Tibiro dala ka. Iparo ni nyithindo koro thagre machal nadi ma ini mutamu wang'. Akwayi ni doga nyako gola. Kata tek Nyasaye maloso. Mama omiya gweno to omiya ring'o. Achako wuoth adhi e dala. Oduogo limo ot. Akia kada nobiro jo rumbo dhi madho kokong'o koto biro akia. Konena kama. To dok odhi wacho ne yuocha. Magret era neno kubiro. Golie uru siling' 10 moro wagole go piro. Wadhi wabudh go yuora udana go dhoge wada. Chiega no wang' naneno ka chunye olokre mokalo. Gweno mana atedono. Jokong'o no hadho. Makata matino kwa neno. Ring'o mana atedo nabro miyo dana. Ring'o ne makoro namiyo nyithindo. Tawuoro wach nyom. Nyiri masani madonjo mok nyuomgi. Gidonjo to giwuok. To gima dimoni. Ni kiwuok idhi dalau. Sama tin isetho kuri kikuru. Omiyo wach dhiang' koro twe adala ni. Anasikie.
Dhiang' yima tuwa nyangero yo dhiang' tuwa. Auma dhiang' tuwa nyaro de la gola dhiang' okoso na malicho miyo chuo chayowa kama. Kongo duwa samoro yo kongo duwa ya ni kongo duwa samoro kongo duwa ya.
E kongo duwa ki wendo na kongo duwa mara cho kongo jawa ka wendo na kongo jawa mara
Jawa kongo duwa gachana kongo duwa ya ni kongo jawa ka wendo kongo jawa ya.
jawa kongo duwa ka oche kongo jawa mara cho kongo duwa ka wendo na kongo koso na mara
Jawa kongo jawa ki wendo na kongo jawa ya to kongo jawa ki oche kongo jawa ya.
kongo jawa ka oche na kongo jawa adiambo kongo duwa ka wendo na kongo duwa mara
Adi choli kaya ni kamo seke pinyora na kumuto se cheno cheno muto se.
Okay.
Komio kongo mera, aume kongo mera kawendo kongo mero ya.
jawa kanyo chitama kwata kawona mulo muta kwata chasienu cheno muta kwata miyo kongo mera icholi kongo mera ka wendo na kongo timo na mara
Neyo kongo duwa ki oche na kongo.
Hello.
Ewinjo.
An song no anyisi anyisa adier ok omake naga sense kata matin.
An ing'e gimomiyo akete?
Mm.
Ado
Naga sense.
kamochopene ema adwa ni wach, ema adwa ng'isi ni jogi bende ne mama nene no odhi dalagi. To koduogo to koro kendo kong'o ema jogi okwongo oloso kore ka kong'o duoga ji ka wendo. Dong ineno ka kong'o noduo gavana.
Noyude.
Mama ni be wacho
Noyude.
duwe ka wendo. Koro emomiyo Ugenya wan wacho ok i make decisions bedo made godiechieng'. Kise make decision godiechieng', koro moto en luok maler, chiemo maber, koro eka idhi madhe. Bas. Madho gi luok. Ok make decisions kise madho kong'o. Chwade chwad kendo iwinjo ka mama ni wacho ni chokie uru moro walos go tidit ka. Bas. Yeah. Koro mani puonj mar kong'o. Mama ni wacho ni kong'o duogo. To story mwasechako wacho ni kong'o noduo gavana.
Ok en kata kong'o, pache ema noduwe. Pache. Gavana pache ema noduwe.
Yeah.
Lack of maturity
sorry. Koro aparo ni
lack of thought mare, strong thought mare. Lack of strong thought mare ema nonyale. Nikech kata nok en sober pod nokawo mana time but pod nodonjo box ni. Pod nodonjo box ni. So nitie wach moro kata question moro mondo wagine ka wadhi kinde.
Pok aneno.
Kawani Isau Galambirambi.
Yeah, stretcher ne kae to koro kawadhi kawatieke kalore gi sani.
Nikech ma aparo ni the idea mare was clear. The idea mare was clear sana. Kata kineno kaka gipangre en very clear. Gima ne interesting ni ng'ama waneno ka en ng'ama nitie ga igine mar ruoth. I circle mar ruoth. I circle mar ruoth. Abomiya pachi gini alafu arangi gimoro ma ka labda nyalo kelo gima nawacho cha mondo ane structure no kendo.
Just a quick one. Mana on last part miwacho no. And I'll give just practical examples mwantiere go. Kata mana sani, kata mana e telo mwantiere go sani. Mostly iluongo giga ni kitchen cabinet. Kitchen cabinet no chakre kata mana ndalo mar Moi ne nitie kitchen cabinet. Ndalo no in fact mane wachno wuokie. Gin jogo ma samoro gionge kata gi position moro malong'o e sirkal. But that closeness margi gi ker kata gi ng'amo rito. Jogo are very powerful. Ma kata in governor inang'o but kiromo gi jogo. Kata samoro kata kidwa dhi romo gi jatelo wuon cha. Jogi ema yawo niyo kata loro niyo. Wan kodgi kata sani. Koro it's very important gimiwacho no ni inyalo bedo governor kanyo, but I dance to the tunes of the power brokers themselves. Okay, you have got no authority, but nying to mi kanyo maduong' sanda kendo mori sana, governor, whatever nyinge ma inyalo mi ji e telo. So I'm thinking in this sense, a number of decisions bedoga made at some levels ma emomiyo samoro aparo ga kata piny ni gimiparo ni ng'eyo no minyalo analyze. Aneno ga ji ka roam around these radio stations, television stations, giroam around to jomoko ok tim kata research. Ng'ato nie kawuono en kama to kiny en kama chielo, to koro ipenji, when does this person do research kata mne subject moparo ni no wacho ni analysis ni tinwang'o gi analysis gik ma onge, nikech that's not the true position, it's not the reality. Mano pachi gimiwacho ni pachi, but the reality kama decision bede made to ng'eny ji onge. Emomiyo Ramoth katieko, the reality ma wan gago en ga, asewinjo ka ji penjo ni ing'eni Africa is Africa, ji penjo ga ni nang'o momiyo ng'ato dhi State House manyo development onego bi abia. Mago jo policy, it is the opposite. Ng'at michayo ni ker michayo miwacho ni dwa golo no, mano e wuon wach, en ema kowa policy ni kanyo, constitution ni kanyo, but mano ok obadho. Gin eweg pesa, gin eweg teko. Gimowacho kawuono nyalo loko ni ndara ni ok los, machielo che dhi los, to timre kaka wacho no, to constitution nino bende rango waranga kanyo. There's nothing you can do about it. Atieko Ramoth, wach moro idwa dhi kamoro, idwa timo reference moro, to penjo moro mar jachien cha en relevant kawuono koso ni wacho na par nigo? Kelane pachi.
Iwinja koro?
Nge kora winji iwuoyo.
Na kara no mute kamoro to na bedo confused, no kane gini kara no mute kamoro.
Yeah.
Bone kan kitchen ing'e kaka giwacho ni gik mane miyo gik mamiyo the king bedo kod the gini iwacho ni koro en ruoth, ne en gi gik moko kadhaa, ne gi some royal emblems, gin some royal emblems ma ne en gi 5 beads, 5 royal necklaces gin abich. Mane mokwongo en gi beads, so there are 5 necklace beads of different provenance, age, color, material and size. So mokwongo en the first bead iluongo ni ganga, the first necklace. Mar ariyo iluongo ni wang' liech. Mar adek iluongo ni nyalo. Mar ang'wen iluongo ni okuok. Mar ang'wen iluongo ni gurmato. So necklace go gin gi nyinge, and gin very interesting kisomo about them. Alafu nitie moko moselal, nitie other necklaces moselal through time. Alafu nitie spears ma king bet go. Alafu nitie to spears gi be gin gi gine gin gi nyingi. Spear mokwongo iluongo na gar, mar ariyo iluongo na ganga, mar adek iluongo nopuo, mar ang'wen iluongo nong'er, mar abich iluongo ni alero, mar auchiel iluongo ni awili, mar abiriyo iluongo ni medho. Very interesting, very interesting. Alafu nitie royal stools. ma nitie kom nyaluo. Mago be gin gi nyingegi, ok en achiel. Alafu be kaka olosgi be opogre. Alafu nitie the royal drum be ma the king be nitiego. Alafu nitie skins and clothing. So skins ding'eny tineno ka gin kanyo kod leopard skin. Mang'eny leopard, monkey. Alafu nitie koro iluongo gi nade ma wiya wil kod moro mang'eny, ofwayo. Iluongo gi nade? Iluonge ni ofwayo. Whisk gi, tail whisk gi. Mane Kenyatta timoga narambe to ofwayo.
Akia gimiluongo ni orengo.
Orengo. Ok, mano e nyinge.
Orengo, yeah.
Alafu nitie kofia moro kanyo morwako. Mantie kod gini. Alafu en nyaka gi special agulu. En nyaka gagulu. Yani en interesting. So ing'e gimomiyo awacho kamano, nikech ng'ane Tatmos nomiyo Thuti nomiye this emblem ma onego go governor kom machon, teko mar Ramogi ma juogi. Amo go wi ng'ani. Makoro gima niwacho before adhi cha ni nyaka bed kama itime gigi and that. But gima nyalo wacho ni sani nitie gimoro ma ok berga kod onagi. Nitie gimoro ma ok berga kod onagi. Tang'e ni giyudo gigi from wazunge. Ni wazunge nyisogi ni kapok itimo gimoro tiwache mondo iget energy mondo obed kaka idwaro. In terms of strategy, mano ok rieko. Nikech mani iwacho the next things monego bed, makoro nyalo bedo issue. Ng'ato ka dwa frustrate to ng'e ni okay, jogi osewacho ni gidhi koni ama gidhi koni. Gidhi timo gini ama gini. So majority of gik ma botimre after kanyo, koro joma bo experience ema bo experience. Anyalo wacho kamano. Nikech ok dwa ati kila ng'ato ema biro kanyo. Joma bo experience ema onego experience. Jomoko onego experience ok onego experience. Gidhi adhiya kod gino. An ma gima awachoga sana time moro mane iwacho ni gini wakawo cha, ma ji ne gin 100% sure ni gini wakawo. Nong'iso an personally, nong'isa lack of strategy ma onagi nitiego, nikech iseng'ise kumi aim. Koro ong'e gima nyaka olwar mondo frustrate. To ne gitimo. Odhi okwal kura, akia ma odhi koni, akia ang'o motimre nade. Yani gik moko gajre agaja kanyo. Nikech kamano e kaka idwa neg kumidhiye. Nikech kata kineno story mwasomo ni, ne onge in general onge blood manobedo shed. But the core message of gini en ni ineno kumiloye governor, iloye e wich. Iloye e wich. Emomiyo niwacho kanyo ni story no puonjo kata ji ni nitie gik mang'eny miboloyo e wich. Ok ibi dhi kod otada. To ok ibi dhi kod patience miborito.
Iwacho ni gi policy giwacho ni ang'e gini ondiki buk ka. Yeah, mano ok ti, mago ok ti.
So ma gima onagi ohero ga timo. Wacho obotimo gini. So anyalo bet maber ka normal either ji experience Ramogi kosebet ama obedo jaba. So mano ema ne lesson maduong' mag gini ni kata gane nokowacho mang'eny kata Tuti nokowacho mang'eny, nowuoyo awuoya tu tineno okelo expectations mek ng'ani nikech ka ng'ani wacho no ineno I swear by Nyasacha ni bobet second ineno setere ma wasekawo gini wakawo makata sama common sense duogone ting'iso ni ne magi gik matimore
Already
ga
osepogo nyaka positions already.
gini gisekawo. So ano kendo kibiwinja ka wacho okay, story ni king'e gimipik tipik, ok wabi puonji gimipik nikech nitie story moko mang'isi wabodhi more into these stories ibo realize gimomiyo ok wanyal bet ni waparo ni onge joma ni kila ng'ato mantie ka en osiep gini. Mano paro ka nyithindo matindo ni kila ng'ato mantie around jowa en osiepo. Question mani penjo cha, the first step en ok wach mang'eny, itimo mang'eny, ok announce mang'eny gik mabotimre, itimo mang'eny. Gibedo reality, gibet gik madak kuom ji, gibet gik ma en reality woko ka. Joonagi gin ga gi that behavior to gineno gan mano bet jomabeyo but we learn philosophy mar jogi nikech koro kiseng'ise Africa wabotimo kama eko waduog to gimiye leakage koro ong'e kama odhi frustrate mano yot. So ano insist ga ni kitimo kamano ikin ng'ama ber, ng'ama honest, ng'ama wacho wan joma richo mang'eny mano badi ok nyaka ing'e. If you are supposed to be there, you are supposed to be there. Kokin supposed to be there to dirang football something more.
Kwach mokwongo cha kawacho kwach mokwongo ing'eyo kwach mokwongo mane ni kom cha nowacho ni gimomiyo yudo logo yudone tek, Mbuya gir yudone yot, to gimomiyo logo yudone tek nong'iso jogi ni gimomiyo yudo logo yudone tek nikech ung'ise tol mudwa dehego kapok udehe. Koro oriek tiende oke oseng'eyo nikech useng'ise tol mudwa dehego kapok udehe emomiyo ok ne umake. Koro correspond gi gimachono ni kiseng'iso ng'ato strategy ni mbele dongi koro iseuso strategy koro obro mole amola mos. Emane ker maduong' nokonyo gin makosa mane utimo nikech macha e ng'ama stubborn. To gima rach ni ung'ise ga tol mudwa dehego to already useng'ise. Koro ok unyal
so wa confuse ga gino, onagi confuse ga gigo. I confuse ga bedo jaadier kod bedo strategic. Question mana penjo nyithinda ka. Mano was the essence of this. Break gi from this mindset. Okay, abo wacho mana adier to nikech kata kirango story ni telo majority of gik mang'ane ng'ise gi except from nobo tan, the rest gin adier, gino bo cost a lot other than abo lokra aluwi. That is the only part ma ong'ise gik ma ok en adier. But gini bo cost pesa,
the wall is fortified.
Magote ong'ise facts. Gik ma ng'ano nyalo wacho ng'ani wacho adier. to kata samo doubting ise no wangen ti tan ga ongise adier gik matimre ga
onge tiende mondo awuorri ni abiro asweya gik chalo swear to ketho kelo koro onge tiende. It is speaking to your heart, gima donjo e chunyi mami pachi lokore piyo piyo.
alafu ko tieko ni ineno the symbol of power kendo en mano kwayo neno gino gima nonege no en mano kwayo na winjo ni ng'ane no gine awinjo ni Tatmos nomiyi gine wacho then Tahuti summoned 400 of his men who came before them unarmed and picked up the baskets, 2 men to each basket, and carried them slung on poles thrust through their handles. When they had started their way across the open desert towards Jaffa, the governor said suddenly, Tuti, my friend, it was told to me that you had brought with you Pharaoh's scepter, which is called Beautiful in Strength. Telo ongena dini Tuti no biro kod gini. How does he know this? Ongena. How does he know? Enodaka is sitting out 45 kuja. Ma is one of the first meetings Magiromo. Ongena did this information. Alafu wacho nini? It is said that magic goes with it and the might of Pharaoh. Will you not therefore touch me on the brow with it and set it in my hands and then bow down before me as your new Lord? That I will do willingly, answered Tuti, his eyes flashing suddenly. Gino kata governor noko yudo. His eyes flashing suddenly. Come into the pavilion where the precious scepter is hidden. So they went into the pavilion and Tuti drew out the golden mace, beautiful in strength, from its hiding place and showed it to the governor, who was lost in awe and admiration, that he fell on his knees before it. Touch me on the forehead with it, he cried, and give me the power that goes with it. That is when he realized that it was too late. But no ng'eyo nadi tell. No ng'eyo nadi ni ng'ani nitie kod gini. How did he know? Money question mawe go John. How did he know? Can't answer question moro mani.
Yeah. In money question mawe go jogi ni how did you know?
How did he know?
Ipare anen to governor no ng'eyo nadi ni to ng'eyo story around that thing what it does.
Ong'eyo maber.
What it
How did he
does.
know? How did he know? Alafu jachien moro manowacho cha I realize ni same with juok. Iluo thought onge ng'ato kaka ma. It is the other side of juok mane giwacho. Ni nyako bed no nyalo create to destroy. So this part ma distraction ma juok, this other part emane giluongo ni jachien. Ema mzungu ne luongo ni jachien. But before ne onge ng'ato kaka mano nitie Nyasaye jachien and all this. World view no is very scientific. To mean scientific ma wazungu. I mean scientific ma ki understand nature kakotiyo. Okobeda mystery. Nikech emomiyo ne giwacho ni ok inyal trust juok. How can onyalo bet ni nitie childbirth, such a wonderful, amazing thing. To pod ineno nyathini katho. And it is not only, it is everything. Ok en mana nyithindo kende. Inyalo bet with your favorite dog, but ineno kendo odhi. Guok ma un ga gi tag del everywhere un ga karachiel. Odhi to tho. How do you explain that? Mano Saitan ema timo, alafu Nyasaye ema loso, kwani gin twins cause. But pod abonuoyo. Concepts kaka atheist is so low. Ok inyal understand concept ma Luo worldview kata Luo worldview. Struggle kabisa. Nikech jogi odhi beyond ng'ato bet kucha direct. Gidhi beyond ni ng'ato nkacha ma onge ng'ato nkacha. Magi arguments mek chomokogi. Makoro nyalo negi nikech obelieve ni ng'ato nkacha to ng'ano ose promise some virgins ma kitamri to itemo ng'ise ni idhi wuok nono. Nikech kanidak ngima maber mondo iyud nyiri 72 kidhi kucha tiyudo ni kara mago onge. Koro ochiegni ng'ado ng'uti kata. Ama moko winjo nitie streets ma nitie apaya molos mana gi gold. Koro osedak geto maisha ne te, alafu inyise gigi labda gino onge, ponegi kanyo bwana. Mano blasphemy. Mano e idea mase survive go geto. So that in the low concept ma duo worldview, there's no position ma jachien. Kata ma this nitie gimoro outside here. Magini. And so much more dense, so much more complex. So much more complex. Wabo somo kata make Egypt creation story. Ibo realize ni kisome magono kisome tip ochal simple. But ochako from some maki understand kaka the birth takes place. You know, jogi wuoyo about birth. Really, nkanye mochake. It's kanye mano chak. So ntia birth. Podwa investigate kaka this whole birth team in human beings. Wachako penjo about angels and Nyasaye and devils and podi pokwachopo that pokwa master kata mabedo dhano. Wasechako the two other things. Ezotelo waduk nigo mondilore.
So Ramoth, Karja Chienka, any of what we Pacha have always believed ne, this thing we call the devil is a metaphor of ignorance. Anyone can become the devil based on what they decide to do. Nikech anyalo bedo mana devil. Okay, anyalo act as a devil to some people and not to everybody else. Taparo ne devil onego bene kao obende mana gi pinye morito ka entiere kiluonge ni devil. So an gima believe in that devil ni to devil ne en nga. Donge devil ka dhano wadwe ma, let me say it this way. Ng'at manyako moyudo siep kuom ng'ama wuoyi to jogi obedo siepe ma jogi samoro odhi mbele manyaka onyuomore. To makosa odhi otimore ma jogi koro chal mana oil gi pi. Ng'ama chielo tam, ng'ama chielo ni jachien. It doesn't matter kawacho ni nyake mokoso kata wuoyi mokoso. But the other one will see the other one as a devil. To dongi luongo ga chuo ni jo devils kapile kapile. The same way, and I don't want to stretch it any further. The same way, ka in gi nyithindo matindo to kata kok gin nyithindo matindo, gin joma ok oyie, pok ochopo e level mar ng'eyo weche mwadwa keto ni Nyasaye en ng'acha. To gi lose ng'at ma gihero tho, especially nyithindo for example. Let me just narrow down to a nyathi achiel ma min gi otho kata wuon gi otho to pod otin. To winjou kowacho ni ne wahero mamau sana. To wabe ang'e ni here sana, kata ne wahero wuonu sana, to win be ang'e ni hero wuonu sana. Lakini Nyasaye nohere moloyowa, koro Nyasaye mokawe. Nyisa ni nyathini en odwa ng'iyo Nyasaye ni kaka ng'ani, nikech ng'at muwacho ni Nyasaye ni en Nyasaye mane mohero min gi makawo min gi from him to weye nono to kawo nyamin gi, nyakawo min gi kata kawo wuon gi to dhi gocha. To this child, chieng' moro ka olokre moko dwar wach Nyasaye, noluongo Nyasaye mane ung'ise, une mane ung'ise mano Nyasaye mokawo min kata wuon. En to luonge ni jachien nikech mano en ng'ama nokosone, nomaye ng'ama ohero. Can you blame him or her? Jikero kamano. Kamano kuom story makawuono, naparo ni mano is quite a more deeper world view, how Luo's consciousness views the world. To ing'eni kisome kamano to chal mana somo ng'ano picha ma samoro ng'ato nyalo kuodo kuome, paro mana ne en mzungu ema ne timo gi, nikech mzungu ema riek, mzungu ema nyalo paro kamano. Mzungu bedo ga elevated and ahead of everybody else. Nitie jomoko possibly pigmentation miluongo ni rateng' nyalo bedo ni en to en mana chien kucho. Koro kata kawasomo story aina to ni mano was en ng'at mobedo connected gi Luo consciousness, so it doesn't make sense to quite a number of people. But I think it has come to a level the openings that are now openings, we can now move away from some Cinderellas, from some stories about jomoko ma wakia kata no accurate wacho wan gine mane gine ni ng'ato nobiro ka to nam lolwe neno ga mana kae, kwerewa ne tere mana dhok modho, deyewa ne ome pi, to ng'ato bukre en emokwongo neno namno, kendo koro loko nyaka nyingo ke nam nolwe en koro Lake Victoria. Magi gin gik ma koro we have to slowly start rethinking how our mind. I think my word for today, and we have to now learn to unlearn. We must unlearn what was put into us, because we now know the truth. Kata mana muma mwaso mwacho ni you shall know the truth and the truth shall set you free. We've known the truth. A number of things more believe you in. Gin gik oketi wiwa. Everything marwa rach, everything rach. Gimara ting rach. Gima lando ema ber. Gimara chare maber. Kata jothumbe wa kawer to ero mana ne nokwaro ka mzungu. Mana ema ber. Mawa pichni kendo ler kanyi Sudan ka, mago koro jomaricho, mago jorotenge, mago ok beyo. But I want to thank you, GK. This is eye-opening. I don't know whether I'm Nemanene, but it's quite eye-opening, mind-opening, everything. It lets ogola the wrong perception manose bedo built your bongo ngato. You relieve off and then you start to plant new things in your brain. Mondo in the world totally differently. I always say in myself, most of the problems we have come because we have the wrong information in ourselves. 90% of what sometimes disturbs us in a day, there are things that are not even connected to us. But because they have been programmed in us, we think they are our problems. They are not. They are our problems because they have been planted into our minds. Because we are wired to forget about what matters, what counts. That is where we want to be put. System uketwa kama kae nyaka ubed mana joma kama. Even the games that get played in the political arena is to keep you busy. Busy. Support ngane, moro de jure, moro kiango. So your mind is there. You have no time of production. You have no time of thinking. You have no time of invention. The system is working perfectly. That's what's happening. Education ikelonu mopchachni chabni dhikoni. Wakia ni which one is which one. Nyithindo samoro ing'iso gi oting' gweno tere school, samoro kia ting' rech tere school, samoro kia timang'o. Everything is working perfectly for them. It's not just working for you, because that is what it's meant to do. And so mine is, we must learn to unlearn. Erokamano GK kuom thuoloni. Cultural champions, thank you. Thank you for helping me listen to these stories. Thank you for helping me understand the deeper sense of some of them, the cultural issues, and how, especially the most important thing is how Luos view the world. It's a totally definition of its own. And therefore, my mantra is always, we are the rhythm of our ancestral journeys. Our ancestors are just as important as any other ancestor anywhere in the world. And ours are actually more important because everything that is happening now was learned from them. They learned a lot from them, and then they blocked you from learning what your ancestors used to do. They took it and called it technology. Now they are selling it to you, keeping you busy. Thank you so much. We must unlearn, we must rethink. Mbele dhi bedo maber. Thank you. GK, kan in gi wach mogik?
Isewache, an onge gima anyalo wacho, pero an mana erokamano. DJ makoro suowa matin.
Erokamano to Ramogi Cultural Institute for Luo Heritage Research and Education for giving me the opportunity to host GK. I think it's one of the. I think if there is any moment in my life that I think I am now doing what purpose I am in this world for, this is the second one. The first one, of course, is bringing my children up in the way of Luo consciousness. The second one is spreading the word to the rest of cultural champions through hosting this program, and especially hosting Ramoth when he comes and speaks to us wisdom that has been passed to him by the ancestors and the elders. And that's why I'm always very thankful to our elders who are holding Ramogi Cultural Institute for Luo Heritage Research and Education together. Very bright old men who have walked the earth, who have for years done their own work around Luo culture and all that. We're thankful to the young men who are concerned with our sounds and our equipments and making sure that there is a connection across the globe. We thank you so much. We thank you. There are times when things don't work beyond your capacity, but when things come back to normal, you always get it right. Thank you. We thank you so much. Go Kamano. Until when we have another program, you'll always know, as we always make you know in advance. Thank you. Thank you. It has been your host, Ouda Only.
Ujoko jala magunga joyoro Pinyo mawacho kako yero kende uda dongo Pinyi peko diero gawanga Namilis kodo kiseru goyo nuru uda dongo Chingo tucho chako podho nwa Kamini tobi ogingo mina juma uda logo Ura ilo gingo wija parawa